Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening. The Health Minister has come under fresh fire, accused of not being fully committed to his portfolio and underestimating the escalating staffing crisis. Guy Barnett brushing off the concerns, insisting the government is on a recruitment and infrastructure blitz.
Spruiking a $2.6 million investment into new CT scanning facilities.
This is state-of-the-art, world's best practice, and it's right here at the Launceston General Hospital.
It means that we can improve on the efficiency in terms of the number of patients that can undergo their CT scanning.
But it's the deepening staffing crisis unfolding outside the imaging suite which is causing headaches. The Minister's visit coming as nurses continue to call for more resources.
Perhaps our first-hand experience to walk a shift in the shoes of a nurse or midwife might actually provide greater illustration.
Warning more nurses could walk off the job for good.
We are doing everything we can to employ more people faster. We're doing recruitment raids in Victoria, New South Wales and Queensland.
It is going to take some time to fill those vacancies, and in the meantime we have a burnt out and exhausted workforce.
The crisis isn't isolated to the LGH. Medical imaging staff at the Royal Hobart are preparing to stop work tomorrow.
The pressure is huge and there is just no relief. We need help, we need more staff.
Fatigued, we're under a lot of pressure, but I think people are just starting to get really frustrated.
Escalating industrial action as Guy Barnett is accused of being a part-time health minister.
He needs to focus on our health system. Tasmanians are dying because our health system is not fully functioning, and we need that intervention now.
In terms of the industrial action by the unions, it is disappointing. I asked them to come back to the table.
That roundtable discussion is pencilled in for this Thursday. Victoria Easto, 7 Tasmania News.
Tasmania's budget has been thrown into doubt a day after a scathing report into the state's finances was made public. Jackie Lambie Network MPs are split on their support for the government, one threatening to tear up the coalition if frontline jobs are cut.
In the wake of economist Saul Eslake's take on Tasmania's finances, the political fallout continues, with the state government given a major wake-up call over a budget black hole.
The current government that has completely destroyed the state's budget, and the economy is now in a fragile position.
The situation prompting 2 Jackie Lambie Network members to voice doubt over confidence and supply when it comes to next month's budget.
I mean, I can't support a budget that will cut any money to services that are so desperately needed. And I really hope the government are not going to go down that line, that they'll cut services like that just for election promises.
But for JLN MP Rebecca Pentland, it's not so black and white.
We've guaranteed supply. Nurses, police officers and teachers, they need to get paid. I've got an open mind. We just need to have a look at it as a whole.
The government remaining hopeful.
Let's just work together as we have in the past. We've got good relationships with the JLN. Let's work together.
The opposition holding off on a decision.
We'd like to see what's in the budget before we make a call.
According to the report, the state can't afford its planned infrastructure over the coming years. Tasmania's Civil Contractors Federation slamming the notion, saying a cut to infrastructure spending is the last thing we need. But threats of skyrocketing debt haven't persuaded the opposition to withdraw support for the proposed Macquarie Point Stadium.
Our position is to support a stadium, and fiscal responsibility is important. That's why we will hold Premier Rockcliffe to account.
Let's just calm down. Let's consider what's best for the community. We've got a budget to deliver.
Lily Thompson, 7 Tasmania News.
Power is still being restored to parts of Invermay after a fault in an underground cable cut power to parts of the CBD this morning. More than 500 businesses were left in the dark for several hours and traffic lights are out as Tas Networks crews work to find the problem. 60 customers are still affected. A delegation from Tasmania's salmon aquaculture sector will travel to Canberra tomorrow to meet with the Prime Minister in a bid to save their jobs. Made up of blue-collar workers and science experts, the group says the industry will be decimated if the federal government restricts salmon fishing in Macquarie Harbour.
Livelihoods on the line over the future of salmon fishing in Macquarie Harbour. A federal government decision over its future awaits as it ponders the threat fishing for salmon has on Maugean Skate.
Fish farm workers are struggling with not knowing what their future holds, and and that's right down to the children as well. So it is having a huge impact on our community.
A delegation from the aquaculture industry will arrive in Canberra tomorrow to meet with the Prime Minister in a desperate bid to save their jobs. Adam Saltmarsh from Strawn will be among them with this message.
Could you please just consider the people and the science before making any decision?
The West Coast Mayor also joining the pilgrimage to Parliament House.
It'll decimate the West Coast, especially Strawn, especially the families in Strawn.
Fearing Tasmania's salmon industry could be shut down.
It's about 395 jobs directly tied to Macquarie Harbour. It's about 130 of them are on the West Coast. To put in perspective, it's 1 in 2 jobs in Strawn.
I feel that we'd have to leave the West Coast to pursue work, which means uprooting my family.
With more than $200 million of revenue generated for the state out of the West Coast fish farms, the Tasmanian government has called on the federal government to leave the industry alone.
It's time for federal Labor to come clean, to be upfront and say, yes, we support the salmon industry. We are very concerned. They're ready to kill it off because of their efforts to gain green votes in Melbourne and Sydney.
Melinda Ogden, 7 Tasmania News.
Emergency services were called to a crash at Allenvale this morning after 2 cars were involved in a collision. It's understood an elderly male driver ploughed into the other vehicle being driven in the opposite direction. It took around an hour to clear the scene with no serious injuries reported. A Tasmanian Restaurant has been named Gourmet Traveller's National Restaurant of the Year, the first time a Tasmanian eatery has been given the honour. Judges describing New Norfolk's Agrarian Kitchen as a global dining destination for its panic-to-plate approach.
They're one of heaps of great venues we've got in Tasmania, and it's just great that we continually get on the national spotlight, and it's a great credit to them, and it's also a great credit to our hospitality industry in Tasmania.
The venue's also received rave reviews for both the quality of its product and commitment to sustainable food practices. Desperate blood banks are calling for as many donors as possible over the next week. With supply dropping to the lowest in years due to increasing rates of cold and flu, anyone who feels well is being urged to donate.
Thousands of empty chairs at the blood bank, prompting desperate calls for more donors.
1 in 5 people are cancelling or rescheduling due to the cold or flu, which is the highest we've seen in 5 years.
While winter usually brings a drop in supply, it's not normally this bad. Over 8,000 donors are needed across the country in the next week, a minimum of 50 across Tasmania, but Lifeblood is pushing for more.
Here at our Hobart Donor Centre, we've got about over 300 appointments available that can be filled this week, and we're asking the community to come in and give blood or plasma.
The number of Tasmanians with acute respiratory illnesses has increased in the past week, according to Health Department data. While the rate of COVID is decreasing, influenza activity is on the up.
It's been a big winter. There's been a lot of respiratory and other viruses going around, as I'm sure you're all aware. There have been many admissions. I think we're plateauing now.
But if you are healthy, your blood's as good as liquid gold, with supply needed to treat patients suffering from road trauma to various forms of cancer.
Paying it forward almost, because the likelihood of myself or a loved one needing a blood transfer is quite high. So for me to be able to give back to the community when I can, I want to do that.
Anyone between the ages of 18 and 75 who's fit and healthy can reach out. Ruby Cairns, 7 Tasmania News.
Australia's newest Governor-General has touched down in Tasmania for the first time since being sworn in 6 weeks ago. Samantha Mostyn touring the Launceston General Hospital, meeting with staff and hearing about research projects from Clifford Craig Foundation representatives.
It really appealed to us to come here to understand the interplay between research and benefactors and philanthropists and the kind of work that is being pioneered here at a regional centre that's teaching the rest of the state and the country.
The Governor-General plans to focus her new role on the need for greater kindness and care. Budding hairdressers, barbers and beauty therapists are pitting their skills against their peers at TasTAFE as part of National Skills Week. Coincided with the regional World Skills hairdressing competition. Launceston's Jess Williams snatching the gold medal.
I think I was in grade 10, we started doing work experience and I got to do some experience in a hairdresser and I just never looked back, always loved it.
The fourth-year apprentice will represent Tasmania in the Australian competition in Brisbane next year. A sisterhood of voices rang through Hobart's Town Hall this afternoon. Van Diemen's Band taking to the stage with choir students from Mount Carmel College and a Japanese children's choir. Their songs signalling a special 50-year relationship between Hobart and Yezu.
The different cultures that are coming together, which is also special because we can't necessarily communicate with words, but we can communicate with music.
The children's choir only just making it in time for today's practice after a typhoon delayed their flight to Australia.
Campbelltown Football Club's had an influx of interest after announcing it's leaving the Oatlands comp to rejoin the NTFA's Division 2 next season. Most of their members have closer ties to the north and the added reserve grade means more opportunities to get on the field.
We have had 39 players on our books for the last couple of years and playing in a one-team competition means that 16 of those players are missing out every week. They're predominantly our young, local, up-and-coming players.
It comes as the NTFA locks in its structure for the new look comp with a 6-team Premier League, 9-team Division 1 and a 7-team Div 2. He was being touted as one of the top young prospects in Aussie basketball, but 17-year-old Queensland sensation Roman Sulepa's next star contract with the Jack Jumpers has been torn up. Still finishing school, he was always going to be largely absent from the Jack Jumpers pre-season, but the club's questioning his commitment after he ignored an ultimatum and continued playing rugby for Brisbane State High, where it seems he also has plenty of talent to offer.
So we thought it was in the best interest of everyone to part company now, let Roman go and make decisions that he needs to, and our basketball club can get on with it without any further distractions.
The Jack Jumpers won't be looking to replace him this season, meaning they will be without a next star again. The 36ers are reportedly interested in Sulepa. After missing the last couple of weeks due to a groin injury, Max Johnston is keen to rejoin the second-place Diamondbacks for the last 2 games before finals.
I've been pushed into the midfield a little bit more flexibility and trying to get the ball a bit more to go forward.
The Diamondbacks women jumped to the top of the table after an impressive 9-1 win over now second-placed University, filling them with confidence they can take out the comp.
Seems like the last couple of weeks we've really just turned around as a team and we've got excited for the end of the year and just started to get things click back together.
The ladder's still tight though, with only 7 points between first and fourth. Tassie Tiger Emma Mannix-Jeeves will be using the upcoming T20 Max comp on the Gold Coast to prove she's the right fit for the WBBL, although the Launceston product admits that might not be with the Hurricanes. The WNCL wicketkeeper's been biding her time for a regular spot in purple, however South African import Lizelle Lee has the keeping role stitched up.
She's one of the best T20 batters in the world, so unfortunately I just have to wait for an injury to happen to her, which I don't want to happen. If something came along and it wasn't with the Hurricanes, then I would definitely consider it. And for me, it's just a matter of getting some game time. There's no use sitting on the sidelines again for another season.
The Tigers were out at Summerdale Primary School today for a clinic, encouraging more kids and girls in particular to give cricket a go.
Good evening and welcome to the second day of Book Week. I fondly remember Book Week. It was the week I actually wanted to go to school. So let's get a read on today's weather. Hobart and Burnley 13, Launceston 15 and Devonport 14 degrees. Flinders Island on top today with 17, St Helens, Friendly Beaches and Strawn all 15, King Island and Low Head 14, Smithton and Grove 12 degrees, Lyowini are overnight low with -3. The cloud did start to track over the state, Smithton and Wynyard 5 millimetres of rain to 4 p.m. The mid to high level cloud also over Victoria and southern New South Wales, a little more over southwest WA and North Queensland. Tomorrow a weak high over central Australia has a trough to the east, more troughs and fronts moving over the bight. We'll have north-northwesterly winds tomorrow, increasing to 20 to 30 knots in the afternoon, 10 to 20 knots over the inland lakes. We do have a strong wind warning that's been posted for all coastal waters except for the lower east coast from Wineglass Bay to Tasman Island. Bit calmer there. A shower or two for Hobart, 16, 15 for Geeston, a shower for Bothwell and 14 degrees. Looks like showers for most areas, including Launceston, 16 the top, same for Cressy. Showers for Devonport, 15 the high. Burnie tomorrow expecting a top of 14 with showery weather. Strawn the same, showery and windy on King Island. Curry, 15 degrees. And for St Helens, 17 with a shower or two. Swansea, 17 as well, and 16 the top for Orford. On Thursday, a few showers again, missing most of the east coast though. Showers into Friday, more likely over the west and far south, and showers over the north to start the weekend. They will extend across the state during the day as well. Well, we're not alone either. Showers also for many centres on the mainland, including Perth, Adelaide and Melbourne. Sunny weather and mid-20s for Sydney and Brisbane. Little showery over Hobart, it's 11 right now, 12 in Launceston and currently 12 in Devonport. A little bit wet for the rest of Book Week, Kim. Won't stop us reading though. I've always said reading is a novel idea.
Oh, crikey, you were full of nothing but fiction, Murph. That is all your news for now. Thanks for your company. Good night.